morning milk routine. So the buckets of food will be made up here. So we're under the house. My first thing is to get my milk jugs ready, where we're going to pour the milk into, and time to get the machine ready and Oreo's food. So you pick up your bucket, this one, the milk drum, plonk that on here. The reason why the towel is underneath is so you don't have to listen to him rattle. And you squish the lid on, but done best you can. Just like so. And you check that everything is attached. And come over to our head. And this is that bung we're talking about. So if it's pulled out, it stops the milk. It stops the flow of air. So that'll build up the pressure in the lines. So currently there's no air in the cups, just up to that bung. Why I do that is to get enough pressure in the tank before I put the cups on, or you might lose pressure while putting them on. But we'll get to that once we get Oreo in. We can turn it on and make sure everything works. And you'll hear that this guy is ticking. So that ticks because this bung is up. If I release this, now the air is in the cups, but I've lost my pressure, so now it's harder to put onto the spout. So if you can't hear the ticking sound, it's hard to put on. Hear the ticking sound? Right. We can release that until we get Oreo. Cool. Right, we'll get our food. So there'll be a bucket made up for each day. And now very important to wet this properly. It needs a lot of water, otherwise you might choke. Like so. Because she's getting fed copra and meal run. Lift that back over here. And then we get the hay. And she gets lucerne, 2 small biscuits, and 1 biscuit of this grassy hay. Right. Walk back over. And I'll spread it out, otherwise she just flicks it around everywhere. And it also stops her from dropping all her hard food elsewhere. It just gets dropped here on the hay then, and then she finishes. So that's how it should look. Her hard food and all her hay. And she's very ready. Look at her. I also get my cloth ready, which is in this bag. Where's it? Clean cloths. Morning, Oreo. No need to put a halter on, she knows what to do. Just open up. There's her go. Make sure you're close to get on it. When walking up to Oreo, make sure you tap her on the left so she knows it's you and not she's Jake. already eating away. Nom nom. So time to clean harder. So get your clean cloth. Walk around here to the sink. One end of it, like one corner. Just in case she's a bit muddy on the other. And then I use that wet one for all 4 teats. And use the other side that's wet. And then turn it around to the dry. See, it's not that dirty. And then turn it around to a clean side. So really what you want to do is make sure they are clean and dry. We don't want them wet because that'll hurt when you put the cups on. You just keep cleaning until I feel like they're dry. And then it's time to squeeze out a little bit out of each teat. And the easiest way is to thumb and index right up high, squeeze off so you lock the milk in the teat, and then close your fist. I do 2 squirts out of each teat. This back one is always the hardest one, back right. Just a little. Cool, that's all done. Bring my machine closer. So it's got a handle here, so it's just a matter of lifting up and rolling it up. A bit closer, turn it on. And I'm looking for the pressure gauge to go up to that red dot. I hear my ticking going. And so now I'll bring the cups closer. See how we do this with one hand. And then I flick it over so it all hangs. I'll show you in a second. So when it looks like this upside down, now you've locked the pressure into the cups, so now we can release the bung. The up. So now the only locking of the pressure is in these cups. I don't know if you can see this here, we'll see. Okay. And then you lift it up, each one, and get it on the teats. And that is, if you lose the pressure, you just drop it back down, hear the ticking sound, and start again. Make sure these are connected by pushing them in. And I make sure my bung is locked in there. That now means it cannot fall out and do something funny with the pressure. And I make sure that they're all connected, and now we're looking for the milk to flow. So follow the line and you can see that the milk is dropping in there. Alright, that's it. Now we wait for that to finish. Milking takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Alright, we're about 12 minutes into the milking. I still have flow, but I can feel like there's more in the udders on the other side. So what I do is I do a bit of massaging like this, just on the other side. You can also walk around on this side, just make sure you let her know you come in on the side. Massage these 2 back right udders, then just apply a little bit of pressure. See, I'm just pulling down slightly. Or you can pull down on the middle here. I should put a weight here, but I've tried a few and they keep falling off, so I prefer just pulling down slightly. it just helps to whatever goes on. If it kinks it here in the udder when the milk is about to run out. And I mean, if you watch the calf, how rough they are, you can massage pretty hard, but you want to make sure it's even pressure so you don't scare her. And I'm watching the milk flow. We've still got milk coming. As it's important to milk her out properly. Otherwise, if you leave old milk in the udder, that can cause infection and turns into mastitis. Because I only milk her once a day, we need to make sure we get it all out. Isn't that right, my little panda? Hold some pressure on. And we'll keep waiting till it all comes out. So we're back around here now. I can almost hear that there's a little bit of milk coming up and down here, but there's none falling into the vat. So I'm happy to pull it there. So we'll come around and turn our machine off. Alright. And we'll just wait for the pressure. Or you can pull that bung if you want to make it faster. To relieve the pressure. And then they naturally fall off. And I'll hang them over here. And we'll turn it on once more just to get all the milk that's in the lines. Just quickly like that, just so we don't have any milk in the lines. Now it's time to clean Oreo to let her back out. So what I make sure is take out the milk that's in the teat. After milking with a machine, there'll always be some milk in here. We don't want that for infection risk. So just squeeze it out on the ground, just whatever's in the teat. And we grab betadine that hangs here. And spray. And just spray up until you see it dripping from where the teat hole is on all 4 teats. Right, she's ready. So now you just let her finish her food while we pour our milk and clean the machine. So I'll bring my machine back over here. So our next step is to get our milk out. So I get my buckets or jars or whatever you want. Over here is this sieve or filter just to pour into. And you get the gist. It's too hard to do this with one hand. So you pull off the lid. So you pour your milk in, and you might get worried if there's some of these lumps here, but because they break up, that is just fat. Okay, so we've poured our milk. It's now time to clean the machine. So we'll put it all back. There's no liquid in there now. And then we get our buckets ready. So here is 3 buckets. We got rinse, cleaner, and the big one is sanitizer. So we'll get our rinse bucket, take the lid off, and we'll just get our cups, pop that in the rinse bucket, and turn the machine on. I'm going to lift it up and down like this to get a bit of friction. It's the friction of the bubbles. So see what happens there. If it doesn't suck, it's because the bun has jumped up. So let's push that down. rinse number 1. We'll take our lid off to the clean bucket, or cleaner bucket. Put our cups in there, and now we pour out the first clean. I can pour that out just here on the grass, on my tomatoes. Everything has to go back on, all the pipes. It's very hard with one hand. So we've already put that in cleaner bucket. So turn it on again. Pour up and down a couple of times so you can see the bubbles. That can suck that while we fill up our rinse bucket. So there might be some left, just throw that out. While we're here, we've cleaned our filter. And there'll be a sponge and detergent here to clean that off. Alright, so we've done our cleaner bucket. So that's been sucked up. I put it over in my new fresh rinse bucket and empty the cleaner back in the cleaner bucket. Alright, done our second rinse. And now for the last one, I have my filter there too, and just get my sanitizer. I put my cleaner bucket back and put a lid on that. And put my cups in my big sanitizer bucket. And another thing, what I do, which is going to be hard to show with one hand, before I pour any of these out, I swirl it around. Right, so that's the second rinse. And the last one is our sanitizer. I'm just going to get this lid on. So we're on to our sanitizer. This one will have more bubbles. So that's empty. The last thing I do is I just hang that back over here for tomorrow, and then watch this. So now there's bubbles in the line. I close the bung to build up pressure, just to empty the lines of all the. Now that I release the bung, watch there be a bit more. It dries the lines of all the bubbles. So now we have clean lines that are not full of sanitizer for tomorrow's milking. Alright, turn the machine off. And the last thing is to get this off. Dip my lid in the rinse bucket. Then I pop it in the sanitizer bucket. I swirl, see how much bubbles there is in the sanitizer? Just swirl that around. And then pour it over the lid. Oh, sorry. And also pour it, the last bit, over my filter. Then this just hangs up back over here to dry, like that. My filter has been sanitized, so I'll pour that up here, And I put my lid back on all my buckets. Also take out the lid and hang it back up from the sanitized bucket. The cleaner and the sanitizer should last a week. So just use them. The rinse will be new every day. So first rinse, cleaner, fresh second rinse of normal water, and the last one is your sanitizer. Alright, put that back. I always put the big one up there. I put my rinse on top. I'll wiggle my machine out of the way. And now it's time for Oreo to go. So she's pretty much finished. I will have a bribery box of bread box up here. Today I'm just gonna use hay. Hopefully this works. She loves her bread. We'll grab a small biscuit. So if you run out of bread, just use a small handful of loosened hay. And oh yeah, she will turn around. She can't reverse. Oreo, come here. And she will follow. It's just tricky with one hand. Open the gate before she loses interest, and walk her through. Alright, morning milking is done. Move over. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all.